Why is my spelling so bad? We're live!
Hello! So, you are joining us, Tech Radar, for another live show. Ooh. It is me, Andrew London.
In our new home, it's me, James.
Just first name, like Madonna.
Oh, yeah, I don't need a second name. Peckham.
James. Peckham. So, we are doing VR chat today. We did a live show a couple of weeks ago that was VR, and it was very sort of like speculative about the future of VR, whereas today's live show is a little more specific. It's
right now.
It's right now, things that are happening. Yeah. And so, first
it's the
thing
reality of virtual reality. That's what we're talking about here.
Exactly. First thing that we are talking about is David Attenborough's VR experience.
Yeah.
Because you got to meet the David.
Yeah.
The Attenborough.
People with respect call him Sir, but call him David Attenborough if you want. So a couple of weeks ago, actually a couple of months ago now, to be honest, I tried out the Hold the World experience, which we've heard about for almost a year now. It's been going on for quite a while. It's a VR experience with David Attenborough. So you sit down at a table. Well, in fact, you sit down and put on an Oculus Rift headset.
Also, so it's a Rift.
It's a Rift.
Okay.
Also available on Google Daydream, Samsung Gear VR, and some Windows mixed reality headsets. That's a little bit unclear at the moment, but it will when it officially launches. Will be available on Daydream, Oculus Rift, and Samsung Gear VR. You sit down at a table, and in front of you is sat himself, Sir David Attenborough, and you enter the Natural History Museum, and he talks you through certain items. And the whole it's created by him, curated by him. Some of the things he wanted to do weren't able to feature.
Like what?
I can't remember exactly which ones it was now.
Awesome.
But yeah, there were one or two things that were just too fragile that they weren't able to 3D scan, essentially.
Yeah.
Ready for the VR experience.
So the whole thing with this is that you can hold...
Yeah. So you hold the world. So you sit down with him, and then you're going to, say, the library inside the Natural History Museum, and then there'll be two different items sat in two different boxes. So you open up one box and there's a Stegosaurus. You open up another box, there's a blue whale, and you go, which one do I want to look at?
Big box.
Pull out the
big box.
Well, there's two different boxes, so they fit quite easily.
I mean, blue whales are still pretty big.
They're tiny ones. There's tiny.
Oh, tiny blue whale.
Yeah.
Okay.
Tiny blue whale. Yeah. The technical name. So you use your Oculus Rift to control your hand, and then you pull out a Stegosaurus, and you can use your hands to pull it like this, make it bigger, and then you can like explore around it, and then Sir David will talk you through different elements of each item. So the whole idea here is that it's an education tool, but you are making your own journey around it is basically the idea. Yeah. So when you go to a museum, you get to go and look at what element of the thing you want to go and look at. Why should a documentary TV show tell you this is what you're interested in, you should look at this? Instead you can go, I don't really care about dinosaurs. You're a mentalist if you think that, but I don't really care about dinosaurs. I'm going to go watch a blue whale.
That uses mind tricks as an entertainment form.
Yeah. That's what a TV show is about, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So, Scythe VP said hi. Hello.
Hello.
Talking about comments, I am just going to pop the link to James's feature that he wrote in the comments. And so if you want to check that out, just click on that link and that should all work for you. A thing that I found quite interesting was the idea that using VR, like if it was a normal nature documentary, that you're told what to look at, but with VR you decide what you're going to look at. So in a way you become the director of the film.
Yeah, he was quite honest about that. David was quite honest about it. I'm going to call him David now.
My mate.
Not allowed to call him Dave. So Attenborough was very honest with that, and that's one of the things he found more interesting about doing a VR experience, because obviously this man has been doing TV shows since I think he started filming in the 70s.
Since the start of TV.
Well, he was BBC Two director before then, but so he's been filming in this medium and telling people what they should care about for so long. Yeah. Obviously, he's still telling people what they should care about in terms of going, these are the interesting items that I want to put in to Hold the World. But yeah, you're the one that's deciding what you want to look at. If you want to look at the feet of the Stegosaurus, for example, you can then turn it upside down and start looking at that. Or if you want to instead just go, no, don't want the Stegosaurus now, throw that away, I'm now going to pick up the blue whale and do that. That's your choice, rather than it being watching Blue Planet 2. And as stunning as it is, you're being dictated to what you're interested in. And this week, if you're really scared of jellyfish, you've still got to watch the jellyfish. stage to get to the next element of the episode.
Yeah.
And this is just a really interesting idea for a VR, not for a VR experience, for a documentary.
Yeah. We've got a few more people saying hello. So Aswath Venkatesh says, sup?
Hey.
Hello. Naz Ada says hi. Jubarek Kadyrov says hello from Uzbekistan. Hi there. If you do have any questions about any of the things that we're talking about today, please feel free to pop them down into the comments.
Yeah.
And we will get to them.
Yeah, general VR stuff. Like, it doesn't have to be specifically what we're talking about. Like, just VR in general will be quite good. We've used quite a lot of it, even though just before the show I did manage to convince Andrew that I'd never, ever put on a VR headset before.
I think it's good to be trusting. You know, if your friends and colleagues are like, hey, this is a truth, I feel like it's good to accept that is a truth.
Yeah, not on this team.
So a thing that I found really fascinating about the fact that Sir David Attenborough was spearheading this is that over the history of broadcast media and specifically nature documentaries,
I love this.
He has been like at the forefront of more or less all of the technical innovations that have changed things. And so the fact that most of his documentaries end with a section that's just, and here's the mad stuff we did that got to the stage where we were able to show you something that nobody's ever seen before. And so like all of the really extreme gimbals on 4K cameras hanging from the bottom of helicopters so that you can get a close-up shot of a cheetah run, like all of that stuff. It's Sir David Attenborough. Like you always are there going, this dude, like most people get to their like 40s and then new technologies come out and they're like, oh, I'm not 100% sure how that works. Like I'm at an age where I'm like, I don't really get Snapchat. Like that's too.
I'm not sure if Sir David Attenborough gets Snapchat either.
No,
really.
But like the fact that new technology keeps coming out, and rather than him being like, I'm just going to stick to what I know, he's like, yes,
I'm going to embrace that.
I'm going to embrace that and make that the new thing. But like that's been his whole thing.
Yeah, he genuinely loves educating people from what I could get out of it, and he's the only man. He's the only person, or even like production company, I think, to win a BAFTA in every single in like 5 different mediums, starting from black and white all the way through to 4K. So his documentaries have won in black and white and in 4K. That's crazy. And if it gets to one stage where VR is a BAFTA contender, maybe something like Hold the World could also get him that 6th one. I think it's black and white, color, 3D, 4K, and there's something else. I can't remember what the last one is. It might be full HD.
Right.
And then, and on top of that, he's also doing his VR stuff to try and push that a little bit further forward. Obviously, he's not the driving force behind the technology here, and someone is probably telling him, this is a really interesting thing, you should go and do this. You're such a talented presenter, you will work here. But the other really interesting element from him was him talking about the differences in the filming experience. So when he's making a nature documentary, he can do his take to the camera and finish it and then go, right, I'm now going to have a bit of a play around. I'm now going to go, let's just do something a little bit different, and maybe they use it when they film it. Maybe I'll bring something that's a little bit off script, or do something a bit silly in front of the camera, and maybe that will get featured in Blue Planet 2, for example. A massive multi-million production like Blue Planet 2. He's just going, fine, I'll just have a bit of a play around. In the VR, he had none of that. They would not accept any of that. And even his collar was if his collar moved, that would be a problem. So he had to sit completely still, even more still than I'm doing my flappy hands right now. Like he has to just sit there still. And if he's moving, if his collar moves, then that's when the VR experience would start to break. So we sat in front of 106 cameras. So inside the article that's in the chat, you have a look at that. There's a picture of him in front of these 106 cameras that are all shooting him at the same time. And if his collar moved slightly, that would have been a problem for the VR to pick up.
Oh, how boring.
So he had to stay completely to script, because he can't then just start going, I'm just going to go off and talk about something completely different, and then I'm going to start like flapping my hands around, that kind of thing. He just had to sit there completely still and go, right, I am Sir David Attenborough, and Sir David. Here is some words. That's really interesting, I think. He had to tailor his presenting style in a completely different way.
Yeah.
Like someone that's legendary David Attenborough had to change his presenting style to be able to be in this medium, which is, if it was doing 4K, for example, it'd do exactly the same again, as it's just one camera.
Yeah.
But when you're surrounded by 106 cameras, you have to think about what you're doing a little bit more.
I wonder whether that is a limitation of the technology or whether that's just early stages, and eventually it'll get to a point where they'll be like, no, we'll be able to cut together all of the video from whatever. Like if they can get to a point where, I don't know, even algorithmically they can be like, oh yeah, we can fix that, we can make it look like the collar moves to the right place or whatever.
Totally, because surely there's another the camera that can't pick up the inside of his collar, then there's going to be some kind of glitch going on there, or like the color changes or something like that. Surely there's another camera. You got 106 cameras, so surely another camera is hitting that at a different 106. Surely another camera surely another camera is like taking that element. So yeah, I think you're right. I think surely if you mash that all together, that would probably work. But yeah. Also, my last really fun fact about this is that David Attenborough is really well known for wearing blue shirts in his documentaries. They weren't sure if they were going to work in front of the cameras, because working in front of a green screen basically was the whole idea. They weren't sure if his like pale blue shirt, so you'll see it in the video again, but so instead of shipping, because they filmed all of this at Microsoft HQ in America, so instead one of the guys had to go round to go to David Attenborough, get some of his shirts, got about 3 of these pale blue shirts, took them in his hand luggage over to Microsoft HQ, put them on and sit in front of the cameras, and they made sure that the shirts worked. They did work all fine, and then he got to wear them in the footage. I just love that idea that someone put David Attenborough's shirts inside their luggage and went, yeah, I'm going to wear these in front of 106 cameras.
Could you imagine just turning up at Sir David Attenborough's house? Somebody's asked in the comments how old he is. He's 91 years old. Yeah, Sir David Attenborough. Could you imagine just turning up at his house and being like, hi, come to borrow some shirts so we can do some screen tests?
I think they probably warned him, but yeah. They probably cleaned some as well.
Yeah. Cool. So, I feel like we have done the Sir David Attenborough.
Yeah, that's fun. Give the feature a read. And also, I would genuinely recommend checking out Hold the World when it comes out. At the moment, we only know about UK release because it is a Sky production, but they do have the intention to release it worldwide. Exactly how that is going to come is going to be a little bit different. They're not really sure exactly how that's going to work. But if you're a Sky subscriber, you'll have access to this on the Sky app on Google Daydream and Samsung Gear VR. There's another way to access it through the Oculus Rift, and then, as I say, Windows mixed reality headsets. I think you're going to be able to buy it separately. Again, all not very clear at the moment, but stay tuned for more details on that. Cool.
We've got more that we're going to be talking about in terms of Oculus Rift and also in terms of Windows Mixed Reality. But just while we're still on this subject, I think, World's Top 10 says, what's up? Hi. I think it's really amazing the stuff that's happening in VR of allowing people to experience parts of the world that they couldn't normally experience. And so, obviously, you can go to the Natural History Museum and look at these things, but you can't touch them. But there are people who genuinely can't get to the Natural History Museum, for whom that is an incredible thing, or for who, like people who can't travel or wouldn't be able to see the entire world, that now can. And so we've got a feature on the site that I'm going to share a link to, which is Around the World in 80 VR Experiences.
Yeah, I love that feature.
It's so good. And there are 80 of them just in this feature. Like, that's not all there are in the world. That's
imagine if you went in there like 43, you'd be well good.
You would be.
You had to do 80.
It would be really nice.
But yeah, so I think that is a really interesting element, especially for people that have like physical disabilities or anything like that, so they can't get on aeroplanes to go exploring. That's a fantastic element of that. Yeah, and so that feature has got all things like you can go inside the Large Hadron Collider, or you can go skydiving over Yosemite Park, or you can go on safari, and all these different things where, like, you may never, as a normal, actual, physical human being, have the chance to do those things, but you can now through VR, which I just think is so cool. Oculus Rift. That there has been big news about Oculus Rift this week. If you owned one in the last week, if you owned one yesterday even, I think it was, you would have probably found if you tried to set it on yesterday, it was just bricked and just didn't work. And now, if I'm right, everyone's is back up and running.
Everyone's basically there is a patch that has been released now that you have to download and install.
Still
And it fixes it.
it.
Yep. And to apologise, they have issued a $15 credit to everybody that was affected by it.
So that would be a solidly good VR game that you could buy with that.
Yeah.
Or is this through the Oculus Store? Or is that
Yeah.
cool.
You could get
an okay VR game.
an okay game. Like the best games are about 25.
Yeah.
So still, it makes like a really, really top-notch game less than half price. So cool for 1 day's worth of inconvenience.
Yeah, exactly.
Good discounts.
Yeah. But so do we know why this has happened? Do we know why?
So yeah, we know why because people on the forums figured it out. That actually, we didn't get official word from Oculus being like, this is why it happened. But yeah, basically, people on the forums were like, oh, it's an expired certificate that basically they just didn't update the certificate in time, and so they were like, oh, it broke everything. Sorry, here is a patch. And so it's like, it's not great. Is it?
Yeah, it would have been better if they just came out and fully apologised for it and said, look, this is the problem that we really messed up here. And but then again, $15 credit. You can't really complain too much, as you say. It's only a day out of usage. But if it's a recurring thing, that's going to be a big problem because people want to just be able to pick up the headset and just be able to play it immediately, not have to. I get annoyed if a patch has to download for a game, and I've been because I regularly turn my PS4 off, for example, rather than putting it in rest mode. So I then turn my PS4 on, and it goes, "You need this patch to be able to play online, and it's going to be 4 gig, and it's going to take you 20 minutes." And it's like,
And I'm old man River though. I remember just turning your games console on and putting a disc in, and then you play it. Like, that was
a thing.
That's how it used to work back in my day. But now you, like you say, you go, oh yeah, I've got a new game, and you put the disc in, and then it's like, come back in 76 years. World's Top 10 has asked, who's that Jurassic Park guy?
Oh,
now I don't know whether you're referring to Sir Richard Attenborough, who is Sir David Attenborough's brother.
It's probably this, but sorry.
Ruining my fun. So this is James Peckham.
Hello.
Hi.
I'm not Richard Attenborough.
But Richard Attenborough was Sir David Attenborough's brother and was Hammond. That's his name, isn't it? Dr. Hammond in Jurassic Park.
The Jurassic Park movie.
Yeah.
Good bit of knowledge. Good segue there.
Yeah.
Don't know what you're segueing between, but
Is it going to be free of charge? The David Attenborough, the Hold the World.
As I did say briefly earlier, but if you're a Sky subscriber, yes, it is an add-on basically. It's all very unclear at the moment about how you are going to be able to pay for this if you're not part of Sky or if you're outside of the UK. So that's something we're still asking for details on. But as I say, I think if you are outside of Sky and you have a Windows mixed reality headset, I think you're going to be able to buy it separately. But do not take my word on that because it's all just very unclear at the moment. It should be launching some point in the next few months.
Cool. We have got Loliet saying, hey, hello. And someone saying, what do you think about microfinancing in games?
I think they mean microtransactions. If I'm
okay.
Right. Maybe. I'm not sure.
Possibly.
Can you like... Yeah,
can
you
do
follow
you
up?
mean microtransactions?
Yeah, if so, we can talk about that. Yeah, if you drop another comment in and let us know if that's exactly what we mean. Or maybe it's something that we do not know anything about. That's probably more likely than not.
And so, what was the other thing that we were... Windows mixed reality headsets.
Oh, okay, right, yeah.
And so they also have been in the news that they are getting... better for Steam games. So this has been a thing that it wasn't actually that long ago that Windows mixed reality headsets were available on Steam VR. And so that was quite exciting because up until that point you had to have either HTC Vive or Oculus Rift in order to use Steam VR, which are ludicrously expensive.
Mixed reality headsets aren't much cheaper, are they?
Well, they're a fair amount cheaper.
Are they?
Yeah.
Okay, right, cool. I thought Rift was around the cheapest now. The big headsets, I think, with the big discount they did a little while ago. But carry on.
Maybe I'm wrong then. Maybe I'm wrong. But anyway, they have started getting patches, and at the moment this is all very, very early stages. But they've started getting patches that include haptic feedback for the Windows Mixed Reality controllers, which is really cool. That's one of the things. So a haptic feedback is basically when your controller has usually a vibration to indicate that an action has happened, and so. when your phone does a little every time you type a key, that is a haptic feedback, and so they
imagine that all over your hands.
All over your hands.
Yeah.
So that is really useful in VR, so that it actually feels like you are in the virtual world. And so that's the thing that is coming. There is a new lounge. So I think it's called Skyloft, and it's basically what you would imagine Skyloft to be, like an apartment that looks out over a beautiful
Everyone
city.
tries this at some point, don't they?
Yeah.
Like you had the Sony PlayStation room at one point, even just like Second Life level, all this kind of stuff. Yeah. This always comes around like every few years. Someone goes, "Yeah, let's make some kind of like chill out space that everyone should go and play games in." Like, I don't know. It's just a strange thing that just seems to just always come around again. Yeah. Maybe VR is when it actually works, because you are actually sat in that space rather than just controlling a character that walks around it. But,
yeah. Some people love it though.
Yeah, I'd rather just go and play a video game, but maybe. It's not. Maybe it's just not really built for me. But yeah, also I guess if it's something that you like, if you have friends that live the other side of the world and you want to like bring both of you into the same space, but then again, I probably don't want to sit in a room with a bunch of strangers. Then I want to just like have just them. Yeah.
Although there are people, so that one of the big things that VR is doing is helping people that have social anxieties, to be able to socialize, because you're totally in control of it. That you can be like, exactly.
Like if you need to,
That you'd be like, I am not enjoying being in this social situation. You can just log out. And so the idea of going, I'm going to sit in a massive apartment with a beautiful view over a city, playing a game of chess or whatever, with someone that I've never met before. That you get to have this amazing cultural exchange. And
I want it to be like a proper old man pub though. I don't want to like sit in some California skyloft.
I think that's a very British thing of it.
Yeah, I want to have a pint. Like,
I want to just have a pint.
I want to have a virtual
pint and chips.
I want to have a virtual, very expensive London pint. That's what I want to have.
Yeah. And you would probably get quite a lot of people from around the world being like, look at this quaint British pub VR.
It's just me sat there going, God, tourists. Anything more in the comments?
Lots of stuff in the comments, but all talking to each other and in a language that I don't know.
Come on, guys.
Yeah. Interesting thing while we're talking about haptic feedback is about HTC. Like lots of stuff is happening. Yeah, lots of stuff is happening in the world of HTC in terms of the Vive and the Vive Pro and the Vive Focus and the trackers. And so out at MWC, which we have spoken a lot about at Tech Radio.
Let's forget about that now.
Let's forget about that, but talk about it for the next couple of minutes. We got a chance. We, as Tech Radio, not we as in James and I, but we got a chance to experience the new Vive trackers. And so the Vive trackers are these really cool things that basically you can put them on your wrist or your ankles or on devices, and it makes it so that it can track it, so put it into the VR world. And there was an experience with the haptic feedback of having a VR tracker attached to your foot, like a football experience, so that you could, in a VR experience, have a ball kicked to you, like catch the ball, stop it with your foot, and then kick it.
Get that feedback,
That's crazy, and you can actually have the haptic feedback, so it's like it's happening.
And that's a tool that they're thinking of using, or I think is even in use in some football clubs where injured players need to be rehabilitated back into the game, basically. So that whole idea of like having that experience, again, if they need to, they can just whack their heads off. They're not going to get injured, so they can just play around with that and the haptic feedback of that, and keep their skills up, keep their motivation up. If anything is, but a lot of big part of it is mental health there.
Well, that's it, isn't it? Really mental health and physical health. If you've got a knee injury and they're like, you're not allowed to kick balls, and you're a person that has kicked balls for a living and for your entire life, you're like, I just want to kick the balls. Now you can do it.
Can you tell we're really big football fans?
What? That's how it works. You kick the ball into the net.
And if you take that back a year, so I think that was using the Vive Pro with this these trackers. If you take that back to last year with MWC 2017, I tried out the first generation of trackers there, which were the really big ones that stuck on your feet, and I stuck them onto the boots I was wearing at the time, and I kicked dinosaurs in the face, and it was great.
Perfect.
It was a like shooting Jurassic Park style game. Well, not that they really shoot much in Jurassic Park, but
Yeah.
you were running around shooting dinosaurs, and if they got anywhere near too close, you were seeing your legs as you were running around this little space kind of thing.
Yeah.
And if they got too close, these little yapping dinosaurs, you could just kick them in the face, and it was brilliant. And that was like the really basic level of the tracking. And obviously we're a year further now. We're another generation further now with the Vive Pro. I think these trackers are where it's that haptic feedback level, and that's where it becomes that little bit more tactile and that little bit more exciting, because you can bring it into that kind of experience rather than I'm walking around a small space and I'm doing these things with my hands. I'm doing these things with my legs too, and I'm doing these things with there was even like an element of it at that time where you can have it onto your belt. Part. I think that was how it tracked the waist, actually, when I was kicking dinosaurs in the face. That was how you had one on the back there. But
you really like kicking those dinosaurs.
I love kicking those dinosaurs. I quite like dinosaurs, so I don't know why I'm kicking them, but so that was the first generation of stuff that I've actually tried, and I can't wait to get into.
And it's just getting better and better.
Yeah.
And like you're getting all of these VR.
Imagine if it got worse.
They just keep making it worse every year. It's weird. But yeah, you get these VR arcades now that have cameras so you can do full body tracking, so that you just actually have your body in VR. Because that's one of the crazy things with VR when it first started, that you just look down and there's nothing there.
I have no legs.
Yeah, I don't really exist. I'm just a floating set of eyes. But yeah.
I think we're going to have to wrap this up.
We are going to have to wrap this up.
Have we got any comments?
Just as we are about to say goodbye, we've got Robert Storm saying hello from Germany.
Hi, Robert.
And the British Unknown saying, hey guys.
Hey man.
Hey. And with that, we are done for the day.
Yeah.
So, thank you very much for joining us.
Yeah. It's been good. We've got a little bit of time to talk about VR.
Yeah.
It's nice.
Yeah. See you again soon.
See you soon.
Bye.
Bye.